And thanks for everyone showing up after last week. Colette, Ruth, Lynn, Paul, Gabrielle, Mike G. I get everybody, Mao. And for folks who emailed to check in on me, we missed last week. As some of you figured out, with my mom in the hospital, I didn't have the bandwidth to go ahead and do a meditation. So we skipped, and I didn't really have time to send an email to let everybody know. So bonjour, Paul. Yeah, so thank you for understanding, and thank you for your patience. All right, so I'm in need of a midweek meditation. I imagine a lot of folks are, or at least for our Australian viewers like Lynn, it's meditation on Thursday. So oh yeah, so an update. I did include this for folks that are on the email reminder, and if you're not on the email list and you want to get on the email list, I'm still manually managing it at the point. One of these days I'm going to pick an actual email list provider, but you can send an email to me. The email is in chat, and I'll go ahead and add you. So my mom is improving, but she is still in an acute rehab facility. So she's improving, and definitely she's hoping that she'll be good enough, or recovered and improved enough to be getting home hopefully soon. So within the next 10 to 14 days. So I'm cautiously optimistic. So I practice as Viktor Frankl, I think, referred to it as tragic optimism. So it's something that is highlighted in Brad Stolberg's new book. But yeah, Gabrielle, it is very good progress. Incredibly grateful to the care and helping my mom out. We're remarkably blessed to be able to have good access to healthcare and good coverage and things like that. Even if it isn't as good as our Friends to the North program in Canada. So what are we going to do today? I was playing around with the notion of maybe observing without labeling, or something along those lines. So just sort of knowing something's there without having to put a label on it just yet. I maybe have highlighted this, but when I was first starting out meditating and I was doing more of the Burmese style or Theravada style of really precise noting and labeling, the big relief for me was that labeling was optional. I found that when I used verbal labels, that sometimes kind of knocked me off of the object that I was focused on. So if I was focused on the breath or something along those lines, when I labeled it, sometimes that knocked me off, or it sort of seemed to stir up inner talk, or sort of here in unified mindfulness speak. So just playing around with this idea of just sort of knowing without having to label, and just seeing how that works out. Again, with all these practices we're kicking around, we'll be doing a 25-minute sit. You're always welcome to do your own practice that you have if you're here for the remarkably supportive community, or you're just trying things out and maybe you don't, maybe you get partway in and decide not to. But just the idea of just kind of playing around with that for the first probably about 20, maybe 19, 20 minutes. And then we'll end with a do nothing practice, or something very, very close to sort of, I guess, for lack of a better term, the secular version of Shikantaza. So we are noting without labeling, Paul. Thank you for the precision on that question. So we're still noting, or we're still sort of noticing where our attention is, but we're not putting that label on top. And partly the reason I like to play around with this is there's this adage, in at least in some different coaching circles for sports and things, that by sort of doing things in another way, you could put the word wrong on it if you want, but by doing things wrong, you begin to also start to feel what's right. Now, when I was younger, when I played baseball and stuff, I always worried about if I did it wrong, that I'd mentally groove the wrong thing in, and then I'd be like, I don't know, I'd never be good at baseball, which arguably maybe I wasn't that great or good, but yeah. So just like this notion of just quick, there's an object. We are noting our attention being on the object, or that we're focused on the object, and then there's the optional label on top of that, or a mental label, and we use that label as a way to keep our attention there a little longer and support it. So this would be the adage that you hear a lot of with curls and things, that the label is kind of like spotting when you're lifting weights. I've been swimming recently and swimming laps kind of poorly, but when I swim my laps, I actually have to kind of call out the number that I'm on, because if I don't, I'll end up forgetting, or I'll think this is lap 4 and it's actually lap 3, and then you're kind of going back and forth as one lap. So there's an analog to this idea of keeping something in the mind, and sort of giving the mind something to do while we're focused. So hopefully that's not all over the place. Again, thank you for your time and attention. I'm super happy for the folks that have subscribed. I think we're right around 150, which is really impressive, given that I think when this started out, it was maybe 60 something or 70. And then, as Ruth will remind, liking the video. So 3 folks have already gotten a chance to like the video. So, and then that's where we're headed, I think. If there's any reports or questions at the end, you feel free to ask, and I will do my best to respond. So we'll put 25 minutes on the clock. All right. So go ahead and find a posture that helps you be still. And really, our goal is to be relaxed and alert. Ideally upright, but not straining or sort of trying too hard to maintain that upright posture. And then noticing if there's any tension in the body, just sort of checking in. What's it like to move from being active to being still, or very much on the less active spectrum. So you may notice there's maybe some soreness or tired muscles in the back, tension in the shoulders maybe, around the jaw, the eyes. And again, we're just sort of taking the temperature, what it's like to be a body right now. And if the noticing is enough to release the tension, then that's great. And if it's not, it's our first opportunity to bring with us to this sit of no big deal attitude. And then if you can, breathing in out through the nose, slow and low going for. Breathing in through the nose allows us to slow down the breath and breathe lower into the belly. And then the extending of the exhale is a bodily cue to shift into a rest and relaxation mode. So as we often do, we'll give you a waypoint right here at this sort of just sitting and knowing that you're sitting in place. And we will not venture too far from this sitting and knowing that we're sitting. But you can always come back to here. And then as we settle in, just beginning to settle into the posture. Focusing on the physical sensations where you make contact with the ground. And as we sit, hopefully the audio will fix itself. As you begin to focus on the touch points of the body, you may notice your habit energy of trying to go ahead and label it. So if you're really used to the techniques, you would try to label that, maybe feel. So again, just backing off from that. Maybe focusing your attention all on one touch point. Seeing if you can feel all or have your attention spread across all the touch points at once. And then shifting your attention, just seeing what is the most interesting thing in your experience right now. So if you can hear enough words that I'm saying, maybe you can shift to the audio and use the audio as your focus, focusing on each word, maybe noticing the absence of the words. And again, you're always welcome to continue to focus on the touch points, especially if you feel like you were able to really get close to those sensations. And maybe your attention is drawn to the sounds around you. Again, not a big deal. Can shift our attention to something that becomes available. Again, we're noticing where our attention is, and then just holding back a bit on adding in the optional label. Just knowing the object and where the attention is. And shifting attention again back to the body. Just experiment with if you can feel the edge of the skin of the body, or the edge of the boundary of you and the air around you, or you and the floor, or you and the seat. And we're noticing those sensations and then just kind of holding back on adding in an optional label. And if the edge of the skin isn't really something that's a solid object for you or something that you like to focus on, just see if you can be aware of your entire posture sort of all at once. So, like our waypoint at the beginning of the sit, sort of that sitting and knowing that you're sitting, knowing where in space you're sitting, or where in space you're lying down or standing. So, those are two choices for now, and I'll check in a moment. All right, so we've got a choice for you to make. It's your sit, your choice. So if you're in a good spot, then go ahead, continue by all means. But if you want to shift into do nothing, this is your opportunity. Again, for do nothing or just putting down whatever technique we've been trying to experiment with or using, we're letting go of any intention to control our attention. And then if we notice that we're trying to sort of guide or shepherd our attention, we let go of that. And if we do that a number of times, then that's whatever the attention wants to do at that point. So go ahead and coast, and I'll ring the bell when we're done. Thank you for your practice. Thanks to those watching in the recording world after the fact. Thanks for everybody that showed up today live. We've got a really good thumbs up to viewer ratio there, Ruth. So 6 thumbs up, 7 viewers. Pretty good. Questions, reports, anything that came up that you want to share in chat or anything along those lines, feel free to go ahead and do that. I am your guide on, you're very welcome, Gabrielle, you're very welcome, Michael and Paul. I'm your guide Sunday night for the Do Nothing Project. So it hasn't been announced yet, but I'm filling in for Jeff. So Jeff and the fam are going to be out of contact. So I will be I'll be filling in. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I might use the being in motion or following the confusion maybe, but I'm going to have to come up with something. So I'll have some theme. Yeah, so the sound is clipping, so that's one thing. Oh, not a word. Okay, so Ruth can't hear me at all. Sound about 5 minutes in, and then it clips ever since. Well, that is not good. Luckily, I will not be using this device on Sunday. I'll be using my iPad. So, oh, cool. Thank you for trying that, Paul. Yeah, oh, okay. Interesting. Oh, cool. That's right. S. Quinn is right. Jeff did say on Sunday that I would be it. You're right. I was thinking what I was referring to is the email. If you're on Jeff's email list, it goes out on Sunday. Or no, it's not Sunday. Saturday. Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing that, S. Quinn. Clipped a bit and then it was fine. Yeah, technology. Dare I say, technology is samsara. I guess it's its own practice. Oh, hey, Jeff Groves. So I was about to say I made sure to turn off the. So I was in airplane mode, and so hello, Jeff. But yeah, I was in airplane mode. I made sure to do that so that I didn't end up with maybe even my Wi-Fi was causing problems. So I turned that off while I was guiding. So I'll have to figure that out. I wonder if there's anything I can do to help with that. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. Oh, wow. Thank you for the 8 thumbs. So I'll see folks on Sunday. Theme to be determined. If you have theme ideas that you would want to share, you can always email those to me as well. So yeah, have a great night, everyone. And thank you so much for joining live and for watching the recording and getting to this point in the recording, watching all the way through. I really appreciate that. So see everyone Sunday.